Remember when you were younger in school, either middle school or elementary school, where the science fair projects would include volcanoes? Kids would make paper-shaped volcanoes and have them erupt with lava. Well, inside that volcano was the reaction of baking soda and vinegar. So today, we're going to look at that reaction minus the volcano. We're going to do the same thing in the bottle and see what happens. But before we do that, we need to understand the chemistry behind it.
The reaction between vinegar and baking soda is an acid-base reaction. Like our textbooks say, this reaction occurs when an acid donates a proton to a base in a neutralization reaction. Take a look at this equation. This states that sodium bicarbonate reacts with acetic acid to produce carbon dioxide, water, sodium ions, and acetate ions. The sodium bicarbonate is the base found in baking soda, while the acetic acid is the acid found in the vinegar. This equation shows us the reaction between the vinegar and the baking soda. Here's another chemical equation that also shows the same thing. While this equation shows the full reaction between the two, the vinegar and the baking soda, it doesn't quite explain exactly what's going on. It gives us the reactants and the final products, but there are two reactions going on in this full chemical reaction. The first reaction is a double displacement reaction. This is when the sodium bicarbonate reacts with the acetic acid to form sodium acetate and carbonic acid. Then the second equation, or second reaction, is shown by this equation. It's a decomposition reaction where the carbonic acid forms water and carbon dioxide. This is the part of the chemical reaction that we can see in our experiment. The release of the carbon dioxide gas forms bubbles, and if there's enough baking soda and vinegar used in the reaction, it's enough to cause those bubbles to spill over the container that they're in. In the case of the experiment we're doing today, it'll spill over the top of the bottle. But as in the example I gave in the beginning, it's how you see the volcanoes erupt in those science experiments.
So let's see this reaction in action. I have my baking soda here and my vinegar here. I'm doing this in a tub to try to kind of minimize the mess if it does go over. I have a plastic bottle. I took a few spoonfuls of baking soda and put them in a paper towel and put them into the bottle. So now we're going to add the vinegar and we're going to see what happens. You can hear it fizzing, and you can see it fizzing and rising towards the top. Those bubbles that you see rising towards the top are the carbon dioxide that's released in the reaction. And it gets closer and closer to the top, and it just might, bubble over. This is the reaction that you would see in those volcanoes that they did as kids in the science fair project. So the more baking soda and vinegar there are in the reaction, the more it's going to release carbon dioxide and bubble over. And that's what we see happening here.